Hi, I'm Chris Montoya and I sell houses, and we're here special today with George Welsh. George, how are you?
I'm doing great, Chris, and thank you so much for coming out to find out what we've got cooking, I guess.
So what do you guys have cooking? What should the parents expect for this school year?
Well, so far, the greatest hope is as normal as possible. You interviewed Mr. Hartman last year as we were heading into the school year, because I was in my retirement month for getting into the retirement system in Colorado before coming back and working a shorter contract. And he did a good job setting the table about how we were cohorting kids, how we were having kids at the high school attend only every other day, how everyone had to wear masks, so on and so forth.
What are we doing this year?
And so far, based on guidance we have at the state and local level, and the conditions that are currently in Fremont County, is we're allowed to allow all adults, vaccinated or not, to enter our campuses with no masks.
Okay.
All kids, vaccinated or not, to enter our campuses no masks. We don't have to keep specific size cohorts to limit exposure of kids at this point. We don't have to run an alternating schedule at the high school. The only thing that's going to feel different for people when they come to school this year is going to be that if they ride the bus, because there are federal regulations related to bus riding, including schools. And in fact, here's how I can connect that is, in Colorado, marijuana is legal. It is not legal for a bus driver to test positive for marijuana.
So we just got to adhere to the
We've got to adhere to the federal guidelines,
Yeah.
and we will do that by making sure we have boxes of masks available on the bus. And so any kid who shows up who doesn't have a mask, we'll distribute a mask. We'll ask them to wear it.
Okay.
And that'll pretty much be the extent of that. But schools should pretty much operate as normal. We'll do our best to keep kids a little bit apart. 3 feet is the recommendation this year. Last year it was 6 feet, which is why we had to go alternating schedules at the high school.
Yeah.
All activities are geared up to go. Football should start as normal. Volleyball should start as normal. Cross country should start as normal. But what we're telling people is be ready for anything.
Anything can change, and we have to realize that there's a lot of flux going on. So, and you're not responsible for some of these actions. Some of these things get passed on from on high, correct?
Yeah, and so we've been using 2 words for sure about describing what we're doing. We're given recommendations and we're given requirements. We have no choice but to follow the requirements. The only requirement I can really say that's out there regarding masks is the buses. There are a bunch of recommendations, and the recommendation, by the way, is to wear masks on school campuses. That's nationwide with the CDC. We will have signs on our doors saying we recommend you wear a mask, but we're, as per local conditions, we're not requiring it.
Yeah. So what do you think the greatest hope for the school district and the school season this year? How would you quantify that?
Yeah, well, that we keep our doors open all year long again. If you'd asked me, if I was in that interview with you, you were with Mr. Hartman, do you think you're going to make it? I would have doubted it. And, we ultimately made it through the whole year being open somewhere in the district all year for in-person learning. I had a daughter who was a senior last year at Canon City High School, and I think from about the middle of October until after Christmas, she might have attended school in person 3 days because of all the quarantines and such. Will we be in quarantine situations again this year? Yes, and I know you're going to be interviewing Paula Boozer, and I'm going to save that for her because she's got a lot of great information about who will have to be quarantined. And last year, it could have been, think about a space like this, just if there was 10 people in this space and one person tested positive for COVID, everyone in this room was going to be placed on quarantine. Now there are going to be some different things that factor into that. You don't just have to be in a room with a person to have to be placed in quarantine.
Yeah, so what do you think the biggest challenges are going to be with this school season?
So if you don't mind, if I know part of what you do is you kind of put a personality on organizations, so can we put a personality on this organization? I'm superintendent of schools, and we're in the superintendent designee's office. This used to be my office. This is Mr. Hartman's bike. He pedals that around town between schools. He's all decorated up in his office. Mr. Hartman, beginning July 1, became superintendent designee. And that means he is ready to take over the district. In fact, he, in my opinion, is more than ready to take over the district. I have a phasing out contract. I'm working fewer days this year, but I think the way you might view me, we've asked everyone, community members, staff members, anyone who wants to contact the superintendent of schools here in Canyon City, to write your email to both me and to Mr. Hartman.
Yeah.
I guarantee you Mr. Hartman's likely to get back to you quicker than I am, because I'm on
it's
a
a
limited
transition,
contract.
Transition in progress.
And you could call me kind of like a leadership coach. I'll be in the background discussing with him decisions he might be making, hopefully boosting his confidence. And once again, is if I were to go out this door and get hit by a bus today, he'd be able to take this district forward no matter what. But it's been a really nice thing that our board did two things. They secured Mr. Hartman's services for this district, what I think is going to be long into the future. He's got a good 10-year superintendent career ahead of him, and that's a lot as a superintendent. He is dedicated to this community. He lives in this community. He's worked here for 20 years, and he is capable of driving the district forward. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that he's got the tools he needs to do it well.
Yeah, Adam's a fantastic guy, fantastic character, and fantastic for our community, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I love that guy. So, hey, George, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. That's it.
Chris Montoya, who is gonna sell your house? He'll find you one.